I'm Chris Ladas-Drake with Save St. Cloud, and I'm sitting here today with local resident and business owner Philip Lantry. Philip is taking his turn to put his name in for the special election for, Councilman Chuck Cooper's seat. Unfortunately, his passing has left a void on the city council, and there are some people that are going to take a shot at stepping up to the plate for the citizens, and Philip is one of those folks. So if you'd like to get to know Philip, this is your opportunity. So hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised here in St. Cloud, Florida. I have two brothers and a sister, and I grew up here, graduated high school here. I love this community. I did move away for a very short time. Mm-hmm. I had fallen in love, or I thought I did, mm-hmm. But I decided to come back because mm-hmm. I missed it. I mean, this is my home,
right?
So I now own a home here,
mm-hmm.
and my wife and I have a stepson, mm-hmm. Devin, which is her son.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations! You recently got married, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, we got married on 4/3/21.
Wow.
My wife, Bobby.
You better remember that date.
I will definitely remember that date.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife, Bobby Bryant, and mm-hmm. I, we own together a company called the Marketechs.
Okay.
And so we run that company here in St. Cloud.
Okay.
And we do a lot of work for nonprofits as well as for-profit businesses
okay.
and things like that.
Okay. And it's a full-service marketing company. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Fantastic. So, so what made you decide that obviously this is your hometown and you decided to come back, but now there's many people who come back and they still decide to start their business in, say, Orlando or somewhere where there's a bigger group of businesses to be able to market. What made you decide to stay here locally into St. Cloud?
Well, as we're getting older and as we're, growing, as parents, mm-hmm. We felt that we wanted to really give back to our own community.
Okay.
And living here and experiencing the growth in this community, we just feel that it's a good place to raise a kid, mm-hmm. As well as, I have a lot of family here, and, I love the outdoors here. I love all the things there are to do in nature, right. And we're close to the coast and things like that. Right. So
kind of a great position.
Exactly. And that just really, it makes it a place that we don't want to leave.
Right. So now, obviously, you said you are a St. Cloud graduate.
That's correct.
Yeah. As are Tom and I. So, we're a little partial to the Bulldogs around here at Save St. Cloud. And so we know, obviously, you're raising your family here. Your stepson, Devin, so he's going to be a part of the school system as well. So, obviously, that's something that's important to you. And now I know that you have quite an extensive education, Phil. Is there anything that you would like to tell the folks that you've achieved?
Well, sure. I said that I graduated St. Cloud High School. I did go to Valencia College for a short time when I was young, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Luckily, I found a good trade. I was a plumber for many years.
How many years, Phil? How many years?
About 18 years.
Okay.
And I had decided at some point that I wanted to go back to school, mm-hmm. and I still like plumbing, but I really wanted to do something that I could see myself doing in my later years that I could do into retirement. Mm-hmm. And so the natural choice seemed to be architecture.
Sure.
So I decided to go back to Valencia College. I finished my AA. I went to UCF and got my bachelor's there.
Partial there too.
And then I found a good school that I could go to get my master's degree. I went to University of Florida City Lab, which is a school in Orlando, and they focus on urban design,
okay.
and that sort of thing. So I got my master's degree in architecture there. I work at a firm called HKS Architects. It's a global firm, but we have an office here in Orlando. And so I've been doing that for roughly 6-7 years now, and I am now a registered architect as well.
Fantastic. So you got nothing on your plate.
No, I'm not busy at all.
So okay, so obviously we're sitting here today because Phil has decided that he wants to see some change, and the passing of Councilman Chuck Cooper, the People's Councilman, has left quite a hole, unfortunately, on the City Council. And Phil, as a lifetime resident, would like to, he feels like he's got an opportunity to maybe make the changes that he wants to see. What is it about Chuck as the councilman? What was your favorite part about Chuck? What about him spurred you to maybe think that you were a good person to take his spot?
Well, I always felt that Chuck, he was there for the people of St. Cloud. He didn't just, vote the way that, the other councilmen and women voted. He, chose to listen to the people and the citizens. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really what we should be doing.
Absolutely.
It's we after all, it is a democracy. Mm-hmm. Although we have 5 members in that council, mm-hmm. It's still up to them to listen to the residents of this town and make sure that they are acting in their best interest.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, and that's obviously what Save St. Cloud is about. A lot of times there are people who don't want to come forward on certain things and certain issues, and hopefully they, and a lot of people trust us to be that voice. And I agree. I think everybody in the community has the same vested interest. We all live here. We've all, those of us who own homes, or those of us who own businesses, and those of us who are raising our family here, we want to see what's better for the community. So let me ask you this. So through your profession of being a plumber, have you had the opportunity to see things slightly differently in this community than maybe some others have?
Yeah, to some degree, I would say. I mean, one thing that's interesting is I actually, working as a plumber for the number of years that I did, I did help to build many of the houses here in St. Cloud.
Very cool.
Because most of our work was here.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, I was well educated in water filtration systems,
okay.
drainage systems, as well as, as I became more advanced in the trade, I started to learn about healthcare and
okay.
Medical gas and things of that nature.
Fantastic.
But I think, having that background and understanding, both, about construction mm-hmm. and also about the housing industry and, how that ties into, just people in general and how we live, mm-hmm. I was able to take that knowledge and that experience and actually apply that in architecture
right.
To help me learn better about how to help people in their community and make their community better.
Fantastic. So, actually, it's funny you mentioned that you helped build some of the houses here on the streets because, as we mentioned in another interview at one point in time, and when we've spoken on Chuck directly, Chuck Cooper also came home and from joining the Army. He came back to St. Cloud, and he worked as a builder himself. And a lot of these homes that are on these streets were built by the Cooper family. And so it's kind of neat to know that, you can drive the streets and see some of your work. I mean, that's got to be, it's pretty rewarding and pretty, I would be pretty proud if I were you. So now one of the other things too is I want to ask some of the things that have been plaguing the city. That there are a lot of people who say that there's, irresponsible growth, that there's a lot of traffic, we have infrastructure issues. Obviously, we have water issues, which is one of the major things that we here at Save St. Cloud have been very vocal about. I myself experiencing the problem quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Brandy James, Michelle Peters, who's also on our team, they also experience it quite a bit.
Right.
What are the things that you think that you could do and you want to see as a change for the city? What are some of the things on your platform?
Well, in terms of the water issue, I think that one of the first things we need to do is establish what the problem is and how bad it is,
okay.
right? And there needs to be full transparency about it.
Absolutely.
If mistakes were made, it's understandable, but we need to figure out a solution.
Correct.
Right? And so the only way you can figure out a solution is to get the full scope of the problem.
Correct.
And then as far as, the growth and whatnot, obviously we cannot stop growth.
Correct. That's true.
We need to grow responsibly. And part of doing that is understanding that, we can't just, build housing development after housing development. That's not a good model. And there's plenty of information out there. There's tons of case studies mm-hmm. that can show us that is not the way to grow
right.
a town or a city.
Right.
And so I think with my experience, I've worked on task forces
okay.
in Orange County to look at changing the zoning codes. Changing the building codes and what they call a formative code.
Okay.
And I think that experience, along with my architecture experience over the last several years,
mm-hmm.
I believe that gives me a good position to be able to not only help to find solutions, but also to help provide a different perspective, a different point of view
right.
to the other council members.
Fresh eyes. Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that things, people start to get desensitized sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so you really have to sort of separate yourself and put yourself in other people's shoes, especially the residents here.
Absolutely.
And to be able to do that, you really have to give them a powerful voice.
Sure.
And so that's something I think is extremely important.